I think most people involved in the food industry care very much about where their food ends up and are very willing to help. And there is just this growing awareness as well of the global impact of food waste. So I think if you can identify a need, collaborate where you can, involve as many other people in the community as you can, brainstorm, work together, and just believe that you can make it happen.
You're listening to the Nonprofit Counsel Podcast with host May Harris.
Welcome to the Nonprofit Counsel Podcast. My name is May Harris, and today I'm here with Tania Marino, who is the Culinary Director for an nonprofit organization called Gather. And I also have the pleasure of serving with her as a fellow board member on a nonprofit called the Golden Eagles. And we support Sevens Rugby, the USA Women's and Men's Sevens rugby program. So thank you so much for joining the Nonprofit Counsel Podcast, Tania.
Oh, no problem, May. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and to see you again.
You as well. Well, we just saw each other not too long ago. We both had the pleasure of attending the Olympics in Paris to support the men's and women's rugby sevens. It was such a fantastic, event. And, you're a New Zealander, obviously. And New Zealand women took the gold, but the women who we have worked so hard to support took the bronze. How did that feel for you? I mean, I remember seeing you and we had big hugs and everything, but really tell our audience a little bit about what that felt like.
Yes, about 2 years ago, I had an opportunity to meet the coach of the women's rugby team, Emily Bible. And after meeting her, I just really felt so inspired by what she was doing and the culture that she was creating. With the women's team, I just felt like, okay, I have to be more involved in what they're doing and support them in any way I can. So we put together a promotional video that highlighted the culture that they have been working on and how that their goal was to use this brand of American rugby that they had created to fuel a space on the podium for them at the Paris Olympics, which they then did and achieved their goal. And it was extremely thrilling to see that and to have seen the players and be involved with them when before they became sort of nationally famous like they are now, and to see the belief they had and the culture they created. They took a song called "The High Woman" and repurposed it to sort of be a call to action for what they were trying to achieve on and off the pitch. And as a group of women that were very diverse, it was a way for them to come together and believe in the same philosophy and create this culture and community that fueled their rise really from a sixth place finish in the prior Olympics to bronze medal winners in Paris. So it was incredibly exciting, lots of tears and hugs, and just an honor really to be involved with the men and the women's team.
What you said there really resonates so much because it kind of carries through a lot of nonprofit organizations, right? The importance of culture and building in something that everyone believes in, the vision, the mission, how we're trying to attain a certain goal. And I couldn't be, more in agreement that that's really what fueled this change, which was so incredible to watch. And it's going to be even more incredible to see what they do in Los Angeles, I think.
I agree. I think the sky is the limit for this team, and that they've got an incredible leader with Emily, who was the only female, the only woman coach at the Olympics. And history was made with the women's team earning an Olympic medal. So I'm sure they're going to be shooting for gold in 2028.
Right. Absolutely. The only women coach of a women's team in the women's rugby sevens. And what a powerful thing for her to do. So we serve on the board of the Golden Eagles. We're, dedicated to improving these teams, but you also work as a culinary director for a nonprofit organization. And I loved sitting down and chatting with you about what you had done and what you had developed. Maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit about what Gather does and what you do for this nonprofit.
Yep. Thanks, May. So Gather is actually one of the oldest social service agencies in the country. We're located in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and we were founded over 200 years ago by a group of wives of fishermen. When their husbands went out to sea for long periods of time, often a lot of the families were left destitute and without access to food. So that's how Gather was born. And we've continued in that tradition ever since. Well, of course, we've evolved and grown a lot since we were founded. Currently in New Hampshire, over 50% of children face some kind of food shortage and don't have continual access to fresh or nutritional food. And almost 45% of adults. The problem is rising, getting significantly worse. We're seeing a demand in our services due to the increase in food prices. I'm sure everyone that's listening is cognizant of that. Every time you go to the supermarket, it's a little bit of sticker shock. And also the end of a lot of the pandemic safety nets that were put in place, so reduction in SNAP benefits and so forth. So Gather is a food pantry, but we do so much more than what a typical food pantry does. The last 4 months, we've served over 10,000 people, touched 10,000 people with some kind of food support. And we do this in a number of ways. We have our traditional pantry market, which is set up similar to if you were to go into a small supermarket. You come in, we call them our members. Our members come in the front. They do not have to disclose any information. We welcome anyone. And they come and they shop, and they're allowed to take a certain amount of poundage of food. We have a lot of fantastic volunteers that help them with their shopping experience, and then they leave. So we provide, Gather focuses mostly on providing very healthy and nutritional food. That's important to us. Our mission is that we provide food in a welcoming and dignified manner. And so being able to offer food that's healthy and nutritional is of high importance to us. Our members are guaranteed to have access to milk, eggs, fresh proteins, and fresh fruit and vegetables on every visit. We also understand that transportation is often an issue, and that not everybody can come to the pantry, which is located in Portsmouth. So we take food out on the road. We have a number of ways we do this. We have a bus. Its name is Gus, Gus the Bus. And Gus is a retrofitted bus with refrigeration and freezer space and shelving. And we have an incredible driver, Jill, and she drives around the community to set spots and parks the bus, and people walk in the front, they shop, and they walk out the back. And we run mobile markets. So we take food out on the road to 9 local area towns. We serve about 60 towns in total, but we visit every day of every week. We visit towns within about a 60-mile radius of Portsmouth. We set up tables, farmers market style, and we unload refrigerated trucks, and people know that where we're going to be every week, and they can come and access food in their own town, so they don't have to find a way to get into Portsmouth to our pantry market. We run Meals for Kids mobile market over the summer to cover the break when when kids are not being able to access food in school. And many other ways we get food into the hands of people. But if I could probably segue now into the culinary programs.
That's what I think is so awesome about what you do.
So I oversee our culinary programs, which are sort of split into two categories. We run a program called Cooking for Community. And essentially this is a food rescue program. So we take in food donations, and we bring the food into 3 commercial kitchens that we operate out of, and we convert donated food into fully prepared, nutritional, healthy meals that then get packaged every day into sort of a to-go container like you would receive from your favorite restaurant. And these meals get picked up and they get taken back to our pantry market and they get distributed to our members. So it's environmentally, it's an incredible program. We're saving hundreds of thousands of pounds of food a year from going into landfill. And for all you environmentalists out there, you'll already know this, but food in landfill is a huge contributor to the major global issue of methane gas production. So the more food we can keep out of landfill, the better. And being able to actually take this very high quality, good consumable food and transform it into a healthy meal for somebody that would not have a meal otherwise is something that we feel pretty proud of. We're producing at the moment around 7,500 meals a month. And these meals go into the fridge at the pantry market, and then by the end of the day, they've gone. They're in high demand. The members that really appreciate our meals are those that are not able to cook for themselves. Seniors. Seniors is a growing demographic of food insecure, which personally I find really sad. So for a senior to be able to come and access a meal that nourishes their body, to me that's pretty important. A lot of our members are working moms. They're working 2 jobs. They're by themselves. They have 3 kids. They get home and it's very difficult for them to have time to put a healthy meal on the table. And of course, the unsheltered. We have an unsheltered population that really relies on this food to sustain them as well. And being able to get being able to access a meal as opposed to just a can of something is really important for them. So that is okay. I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking here, May.
That's okay. I think it's awesome. Now, refresh my memory. Do you have just a ton of volunteers that do all of this, or is there some kind of educational program in your culinary program?
So, yes, we the 3 kitchens that we repurpose the food out of, every kitchen has a staff member as a lead. Food safety is really important to us. All our managers are ServSafe certified. But outside of that, it's volunteers. So we could not do what we do without volunteers. We're incredibly lucky. Every day I'm thankful for the people that come into our kitchen and prep and chop and cook and wash dishes and pack. They're just a huge component of making what we do possible. We're also lucky. We have very talented volunteers. We have retired chefs and caterers, and they just are looking to give back to the community through the use of their skills. But then we also have people that want to come and just are happy just to wash the dishes and pack meals and contribute in any way they can. So we've recently formalized the way we bring food into our kitchens. We launched a coalition called Seacoast Waste Map. The coalition is managed by Gather, and we operate in collaboration with the local food industry. 13% of the national total of food waste in this country comes from the food industry sector. So we're targeting specifically restaurants, chefs, country clubs, caterers, cafeterias, food suppliers, food distributors, anyone that's ending up with food at the end of the day that they are not going to use, but is perfectly great to consume. So we're building up an incredible partnership with a lot of local area food providers, and we're really starting to see that we're making a big impact on the reduction of food that's being saved. And it's also means that we're able to produce a lot more meals as well, as we have a lot more food coming in. 93% of the cost of the food that goes into one of our meals is donated food. So
that's amazing. So you've mentioned a few times that it's really just about relationship building and who you're targeting and who's supporting. And it's for a 200-year-old organization. I mean, that kind of tracks, right? You've been in the community for a long time. You've been around. You've probably got some really charismatic, amazing leaders. For someone that's maybe recognizing in their community that there's a need here, that, it's a smaller community or one that just doesn't have really good support services, but they want to make a difference. Are there any kind of, areas of guidance or what kind of words of wisdom would you share with someone who has perceived this need and now would like to address it? And they don't have that 200-year-old, kind of history behind an organization.
I think that where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, that's sort of how we've sort of built what we've done. There was definitely no blueprint. We saw a need, and we tried to address it and build a program to meet that need. And honestly, May, a lot of it was trial and error. There were many things that if I would go back, I would do again. But at the end of the day, we created something that is successful and is working well. And just by purely believing that we could do it. And using the connections that we have within the community as well. We just living in a small community, we have built a lot of relationships with other nonprofits, restaurants, and we really sort of just drew on that community to bring this group together and drive what we're doing. I approached a local chef about my idea and said, hey, how about we just get some chefs together at my house and we can just talk about the food waste situation, and is there anything that we can do about this? And he said, oh, that'll never work. Chefs don't want to give up their time after hours, and they don't really have any interest in saving food. So if I had taken that advice, we would never be where we are today. So that wasn't really the case. As it turned out, I think most people involved in the food industry care very much about where their food ends up, and are very willing to help. And there is just this growing awareness as well of the global impact of food waste. So I think if you can identify a need, collaborate where you can, involve as many other people in the community as you can, brainstorm, work together, and just believe that you can make it happen.
Those are perfectly awesome words. And I can't think of anything better because, I think there are a lot of nonprofit founders, that they've seen the need, but they're like, crusaders on their own. They're like, I'll do this. I can solve this. And you're just so much more powerful when you can you need the founder to set the vision, right? But then you need to build your tribe. You need to build the community, the stakeholders, people who are engaged. And it's not just funders. I mean, they're definitely important. You do need, cash to operate. But it's really, the volunteers, the people who might not know, the people who might not be able to give you money, but they know someone who is that chef, who is, involved in food distribution or volunteerism or something. You never know, but you have to start talking and building those relationships. And you've done a fantastic job of doing that.
Yeah, I think you sort of really hit the nail on the head there, May. I think sort of our motto is we serve our community by building a community. So it comes from within. We've formed incredible partnerships with the local Portsmouth Housing Authority, the Portsmouth Senior Activity Centre, where we work together to provide senior programming. We do community dinners for seniors. We do cooking classes that we call Rock the Crock, because we do how to cook a meal in a little mini crock pot for a senior, and just wrapping around and working with other agencies and other community interests. You know, we're all serving the same demographic, and we all want the same thing. We all want to help the community, and by working together, there's no overlapping resources, no duplication of resources, and it's also feels good when you're working with other people and you're all sort of working towards the same goal and driving together. And when you accomplish as a team, it feels pretty good.
Well, that is I love this so much. Well, I have to ask, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners about your journey into nonprofits, about tips and tricks that you've learned working with a nonprofit besides the amazing nuggets that you've already provided? Is there anything else that you would like to share?
Well, my journey to working for a nonprofit was probably not a typical one.
It never is. It never is.
No, I know. Who grows up thinking, oh, I want to work for a nonprofit? I grew up on a farm in New Zealand. That's really where my love of food and cooking started. We grew and raised almost everything that we ate. I remember churning butter with my grandmother, and it was I guess before it was farm to table, before farm to table was something. And
right.
yeah, and my love of being able to provide wholesome, fresh, local, healthy food started there. I then went off to work in international finance as a career. I was a financial analyst for a while, and then I became a foreign exchange spot and forward trader. And that took me all around the world. And of course, everywhere I went around the world, I was super excited about the food scene there. And I love always sort of exploring food and cooking a lot along the way. And then I settled down in Maine and New Hampshire, and had kids and took a break from the career world at that point, but sort of was always looking for sort of a volunteer opportunity and a way to give back. And I became involved with Gather as a volunteer when the food repurposing program was just started, and it literally started by us taking a box of overripe bananas to a church kitchen and making banana bread, and that's how it started, and it's grown today into this incredible program. But so I guess this job for me is a culmination of the three big loves in my life, cooking and providing nutritional food, especially for those that don't have it. Business, I've been able to sort of transfer some of my business skills into growing these programs. There was a lot of sort of like budgets to draw up and P&Ls to keep to and that type of thing along the way. And my love of nonprofits and helping people, and I get to use all three of these every day. And for me, I was actually just saying to one of my volunteers yesterday, I felt like my entire life was leading me to this role, and that there was a reason I'm here. And I just feel very honored and privileged to be able to work for Gather and to have an organization that believes in creativity and a can-do attitude, and a boss that really listens to my wild and crazy ideas and says, okay, let's go for it.
Well, and I have to say, the boss, who I don't know, but whoever is running this ship, is at the helm. I have to say, I admire them so much. They've built a culture of amazing people and programs with really awesome. What was it? What was the croc thing? It was
Rock the
Croc and Gus the Bus. And it sounds like it's a lot of fun to work where you work. So, kudos to the leadership team there at Gather. That's what we should also all aspire to, really.
Yes, May, our leader, her name is Ann Hayes, by the way. I'm the executive director of Gather, and she's an incredible force. The history of Gather, after being founded by a group of women, has very much been a woman-led and run organization. The leadership team at the moment, which is 5 directors, is 4 women and one poor guy, Liam, who I often feel sorry for in our leadership team meetings. But it's, every day I love being part of this organization. I just absolutely love the people that I work for, the volunteers that I see every day. It's a community, and it's a happy community, and it's not always easy doing what we do. There's many challenges along the way, but we're able to work together as a team and overcome them. And I'm very proud of what we've built here.
Well done. Well, thank you so much, Tania, for joining the Nonprofit Counsel Podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat about this with you.
Thank you so much for having me, May. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Nonprofit Counsel Podcast. Are you ready to lead with clarity and confidence? Head to nonprofitcounsel.com to find the tools you need to start smart, lead strong, and create lasting impact.